Hello and welcome to The Frame, an initiative of Access Framingham. We start this week with a roundup on the latest bulk of budget meetings held by local officials over the past few days, as Mayor Charlie Sisitsky officially submitted his latest budget proposal for the 2027 fiscal year late last week. The new pitches framework about $398 million in expected costs, covered by a 3.5% increase to the local tax levy rate, the use of $10 million in free cash out of the $21 million that the city has available, and further reductions to municipal department requests, services, and salaries. Additionally, the mayor explained to city councilors this week that he and his administration have taken steps to consolidate city operations. Through his plan, the Parks and Rec Department would be combined with facilities, while senior and veteran services would merge with the public library, as the Callahan Center and Parks and Rec director positions would be eliminated.
It's not an easy task. We're in very uncharted waters here with what we're doing, and we're working as hard as we can to minimize the impact, but there's going to be pain, and you got to admit there's going to be some pain here. And we're trying to minimize that, but it's going to happen.
The FY27 budget for Framingham Public Schools continued to be a major talking point this week, as the finance subcommittees for both the City Council and School Committee met with city officials on Tuesday, May 26th. Sisitsky's new proposal calls for just over $187 million for FPS. Still, community members continue to speak in favor of the district's full request being funded and against any layoffs. Superintendent Dr. Robert Tremblay told officials that over a dozen staff members could be given pink slips in the coming weeks. He said with upcoming deadlines to inform educators and staff whether they're being transferred or let go, and with no official budget plan in place, school leaders have to keep all employees in mind due to uncertainty and concerns regarding morale. District 7 School Committee member Kyle Shepard, meanwhile, contended that the framework of the proposed tax raise and free cash usage has acted as barriers in this process.
So we're predicating this on something that hasn't been voted. On a deadline that's fast approaching, I would not want us to be in a position where we're having to notify 47% of the Framingham Public Schools that they may not come back, when in effect, it might be a total of 30 or so people that we're talking about here when this list is voted.
We're not starting with what do we want this community to look like, what do we want to be able to do for our schools. You know, instead of starting with a goal and figuring out what we have to do, we started with constraint and figuring out what we can't.
Meanwhile, the City Council's Finance Subcommittee continued those budget conversations with various department heads on Wednesday, May 27th, as they heard from Library Director Dawn Delasanta regarding their budget plan. She said that decisions to limit hours of operation at the McAuliffe branch site, along with non-contractual employee shifts, are ways to avoid full layoffs while providing as much service to residents as possible, adding that the proposal to merge library, senior, and veteran services could be one that other communities mirror in the future.
We are making a proposal that really does make a significant fiscal impact, and we are hoping that when we are stabilized as a community, these hours will come back.
One other note on the budgeting process that Sisitsky mentioned this week, the mayor announced that the annual fireworks show in Framingham leading up to Independence Day will not be held. Stars and Stripes over Framingham had been held prior to the 4th of July since 2023, after decades of no fireworks show taking place in the community. Now, the mayor said the decision has been made to call it off in 2026, quote, for a number of reasons, mainly budgetary, end quote. The city's official statement on the matter reads, quote, like many communities across the Commonwealth, the city of Framingham is facing significant budget constraints. Due to limited staffing resources and ongoing financial challenges, including budget cuts and school and municipal layoffs, the city has made the difficult decision to cancel the annual Stars and Stripe event scheduled for June of 2026, end quote. Leaders and residents from Framingham gathered at Nevins Hall downtown on Monday, May 25th to commemorate Memorial Day and to recognize local military members who have died during their service. Veterans of all military branches were joined by officials and other community members for the event, which also stood as a time for the city's Director of Veteran Services, Christopher Davis, to reflect on his own service as a Marine from 2005 to 2013.
Memorial Day is a reminder that for many families, the cost of service never truly ends, never goes away. So today, we gather not only as a community, but in remembrance of those who never made it home.
The keynote speaker on Monday was retired Commander and Framingham native Bill Driscoll, one of the U.S. Navy's sole jet missile aces and the recipient of various military honors like the Purple Heart. He was a naval flight officer during the Vietnam War, as well as an instructor at the U.S. Naval Fighter Weapons School, otherwise known as Top Gun. He urged audience members this week to make the most of their opportunities today in recognition of service members who have died.
If I was standing here, and there were several of these veterans we were honoring today were standing next to me, they would ask two things. The first thing they would ask is, remember us and what we did to protect your way of life. And secondly, they would ask, do what we can't do. Hug your families.
More details on that ceremony, along with all of the top stories we cover each and every week on the show, can be found on our website, www.theframe.news. We've got full written articles there for you to read, along with feature pieces completed across the city and a calendar filled with upcoming community events. Be sure to subscribe to our email newsletter too, so that you're always in the loop with Framingham News in Focus. One more reminder for you now that Framingham High School's class of 2026 will be honored during their graduation ceremony on Friday, June 5th. Seniors will be receiving their diplomas at Bowditch Field that afternoon, and the Framingham Education Channel will be on hand to capture the entire event live. The graduation will begin at 5:30 p.m. on the 5th. FEC TV is Comcast Channel 8, Verizon Channel 41, and RCN Channel 15. Access Framingham's channel on YouTube will also have the full ceremony uploaded. A reminder that you could always find more Frame coverage by finding us on social media. Our handle on Instagram is @FrameNews_, and you can also search for The Frame on Facebook. Subscribe to Access Framingham's channel on YouTube and hit the bell icon to be notified whenever new videos are uploaded there. Follow us on Spotify too, where we publish full episodes of The Frame for you to either watch or listen to. That's all for this week's Framingham News in Focus. On behalf of the entire team here at The Frame, thanks for joining us. My name is Brendan Fitzpatrick. We'll talk to you next week. Take care.